Okay, so today I'm going to continue my permanent deck round robin where I'm going through like every single deck I've played in the history of me playing this game, which isn't that long, obviously. Basically, like a year and a couple months, maybe a year and 6 months by now. Like August of 2022, I started playing this game for the first time, and that would obviously mean in any form too. Like it was my first time playing Magic, period, not just this version of the game, but generally it's a pretty good version. But people do say, it's not all inclusive of every card in the history of the game, so that's the main thing that bothers me. That always makes me want to play, try some other one down the road, but we'll see. I'll at least want to do at least one run where I get to mythic rank or whatever, right, at some point, but I'm not in any hurry to do that. So basically, what else is there? Oh yeah, today's title is oddly inspired by something very strange. A Jack Stauber song where he says, baby hotline at the beginning, where he's like, this is the most random reference ever, but this is how I sometimes come up with my titles. He says at the beginning, like, baby hotline, please hold, like as if you're saying hold on the phone, but then he keeps going and says, hold me close to you, as like part of like one smooth line. So it's the same thing like Magic the Gathering, but instead of saying Magic the Gathering and then the next part of what your title actually is, it's like, oh, Magic the Gathering of such and such. So you're using it in a more flowing sort of sense, like you meant to say that in the first place, but it's like a fake out, because you would say in every title Magic the Gathering and then go into some other spiel of what you're actually doing or talking about. So whatever, I've just been listening to a lot of his stuff lately, not that I haven't heard it before, but just the very unusual nature of it. It makes you think one of two things. Maybe he's only famous really because of how weird his stuff is, or maybe he would be way more famous if he didn't make it so weird and it'd be more mainstream and he'd be some sort of billboard artist or something like that. It's very hard to judge, but sometimes you can never question what makes somebody what they are. Like, if it wasn't for him doing it that way, then he might lose his motivation. Now, I thought it was Toxic 2 that I was playing as, that I even looked at in my last VOD, so now I'm confused. Because in a rare occasion in this, I don't know what episode this is of the whole Permadeath deck round robin thing that I'm doing, but it's like maybe episode 4 or 5. It's not like we play for very long. We'd be lucky to get through one deck, even if we do lose as it, since we're doing only best of 3 formats and we're only playing in the timeless format. But since we're doing best of 3, the act of doing a single one can take a very long time, considering how short these episodes are. But no, now I'm genuinely confused, because I thought the ones get pulled to the top that you actually play as, but I swear it was 2. Maybe they're like the same and I just made a copy. Oh, you know what? I probably made a copy of it because it's not playable in the fucking format. That's what it keeps doing to me, stupidly. But I don't know. It would even show me what I played as last. Or no, now it is showing 2. I'm so confused. Why would it... Or I guess it pulls it to the top here within this format, not just overall. But you would think it would still show me the most recent ones I played as. So I'm skipping the ones that are like these pre-made ones, like with whatever. They have names like this that would sort of show off that they're structured. So all these ones at the end here I would still be able to play as, right? This one, this one, this one, this one, this one. And we started with Nestbird, so maybe there's not actually that many left, now that I come to think of it. Right, like we started here, so how many have we done? 1, maybe we fucked around with those, but Malagos role player over here, down to the title. But no, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think these were basically the same, so I skipped them. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I don't really remember doing the Forest Gods one, but I'm going to defer to the fact that obviously they would be in this order for a reason. So we're almost done with this actually, and after that I should do like another 10k draft, since the first one wasn't really all that productive or interesting. So now it gives me kind of reason to do 2 in a single expansion, even though I didn't like anything in this draft too much. I mean, you know how much I like the last expansion because I fucking love dinosaurs, but I guess you can't be too spoiled. But this expansion kind of cucked me a little bit because it didn't give me even a single one to work with. At least give me some random innocuous, common card. It doesn't have to be like a legendary or something. I guess it would be this one, but I'm very confused about how they organize this. In fact, I should have used this opportunity to fix my thing a little bit, like delete some of these decks or whatever. I have them all on video, so it's not like it matters that, oh, I might forget what deck list it was, even if though they're all garbage anyway, just for the fun of whatever shit I come up with. So the point is there weren't really as many as I thought, and even a lot of them are going to be very similar, because it'll be like just an iteration on, you know, this big green deck with a bunch of dinosaurs, but then I just add like one more, and that makes a new deck. So it's not really like I've had that much flexibility. It's not even that my collection isn't that good, not even in terms of quality, but just like, because, you know, maybe I built it suboptimally, but I do actually have a lot of shit in there. Like, if you look at the totality of how long I've played and how many packs I've gotten and things like that, how many drafts I've done, if you had built this optimally, you could have had basically whatever you wanted. Right, so you could easily have meta mythic caliber decks up the wazoo. I probably already have room for enough of that, but I just don't bother to craft it optimally, which that's at least a pretty deliberate choice. But I also don't even build decks optimally with what I have, right? I'll probably just, oh, I want to use this because I just enjoy it, so I don't really care if I could make something better with the collection that I have. The one cosmetic that we're missing is a dinosaur pet, which I maybe had a chance to get last expansion, but the reason why I don't think I did is because I think you would have still had to get the reward track, which theoretically I guess I could still do, but since it's free to play, I'm not able to do it because I didn't have the 3,400 gems, but you could in theory save them up. So one expansion I will have to do that. I'm having to discard more cards than I can actually fucking play here. But no, I would want a dinosaur pet there for sure. And that's clearly why I would spend such an exorbitant, crazy amount of gems. 3,400 just to fucking do that. I have gotten a few too many cosmetics. But no, not only is it a free-to-play first playthrough of the game, but it's also a no crafting run. Oh wait, that's just because this game doesn't have crafting. At least in the context of like disenchanting stuff. Right, it doesn't let you break down cards or anything, even if you get like less of a return. So like you have to disenchant 4 mythic cards to get a single mythic wild card back, right? Like how in Hearthstone you get 400 dust and you need 1,600 to make one. That would still be fine with a lot of people, but Gigantha the Wellspring, pretty cool card art. Wow, they're playing this just to show it off. Companion, no card in your starting deck has more than one of the same mana symbol. That wouldn't work for me at all then, because they all have multiple green. Can't be spent to pay generic mana cost. Interesting. Yeah, the toxic mechanic isn't even that good here, because really what you're doing is just whatever. You're still kind of just playing on the board, so you're not really going to win because of that. Even the title art guy for this deck, whatever that thing is better more so just for the trample and the haste, not even for this. I can't really do anything here, but these can sometimes be the most fun matchups where you both have low value shit and you just kind of whatever, make the most of it and are in full top deck mode the whole time. This one actually looks pretty awesome for a land. Let me go pay 10k gold in the thing, in the shop for it. And spend 10k on a fucking one that looks like a little kid's intern did it in Microsoft Paint, like a little hand-drawn thing. There's so many bad ones, or some of them are just like concept art. You know, the other format of the series was supposed to be like I'm trying to collect every green card in the game, but in the process I've crafted many cards of different colors just to keep myself interested long enough to, you know, have some variety and mix it up. So even though I'm not crafting green cards, it's working towards me crafting green cards because I can't always play as green in the process of doing that. There's no rule that like, oh, I only have to use green cards, but as if I need an excuse to anyway because I don't really like using much else anyway. Or sometimes I'm forced to just because, oh, there's not enough hexproof green minions, so therefore I'm forced to use blue even though I hate blue overall. Right, just because it has so many, I won't even say good ones, but it has so many hexproof minions, period. But no, you would think like Carnage Tyrant is my favorite card in the game because it combines, you know, all the elements. It's decently statted. It can't be countered. It's hexproof. It's, you know, it's a dinosaur. It has all the elements. I guess you could just kill that either double block or rebuke, but I don't really want to even. Kind of waiting for too long, hoping I get actually something big, which is the whole point of these decks. Although I guess again, this one isn't, this one isn't quite as good value. But no, Toxic is kind of a fun mechanic, but it's also kind of insular, where it just, there's a few cards that do it, and that's about it. It doesn't have like any sort of, I don't know, other synergy to it. It's just very straightforward. There's a lot of cards that increase the number of counters your opponent has, so it's validated that way, but I don't know, I'm not really using it like that anyway. Yeah, would you really fear the poison counters? Because by the time, unless they have a ton of healing, that's what I can sometimes counter. Some of these white heal decks that piss the shit out of me, you can potentially win there because no matter how much they heal, they're not going to have a way to remove the poison counters. I don't think there even is one. I've never seen somebody really do that. I wonder how the poison counters would work with the one mechanic that, like, even there's like this card that's like a weapon that says as long as this weapon's here, your health can't be reduced below 0, or like you don't lose if it is. But maybe the Toxic would bypass that. You would lose to that because it doesn't do a health value of damage. Or maybe it just says you can't lose the game as long as that weapon's out there. Yeah, this has been one of my most laid back series ever because I'm not really trying to do much of anything with it. But I always do these kind of permanent formats with everything I do, which is kind of a good trademark because it shows you something beyond, you know, not just that I like to do permanent runs, but it's almost like a life philosophy. It's a good way to make anything kind of more immersive or fun or interesting or whatever. And so what it does is it puts you in a position where basically like tomorrow I'm going to do it with the P sets for my, you know, chess piece round robin. So whenever I lose a game, I have to move to the next one, and I can't use that set anymore, at least for a very long period of time. It doesn't mean like forever, but yeah, it is kind of a good philosophy to look at where you're basically wait, why did you even have to block it with two things? Yeah, damage is the most meaningless mechanic in the game because it doesn't matter. They'll auto fucking heal no matter what. What a great keyword that would be, damage, where when you damage something, the damage actually sticks and stays there. So next turn, it'll have 2 health instead, but it doesn't. But no, like, it's sort of a good burden of consequence philosophy to basically look at it. You know, this is why I love the best of 3, though. I still have a chance, even though it's maybe a bit of an unfair matchup. I'm a fucking bronze player versus emerald, platinum, whatever it is. But I mean, obviously, usually I get a little higher than this. But yeah, hard stuck at gold in both PvZ heroes, like rank 20, and this. Usually gold is what we get to about, but partly just because I don't play enough, or we're kind of gaming the system with these other formats that make it a little easier, like, oh, it's easier in historic or timeless, maybe, even though people would always advise against playing those. I love that. Yeah, they'll say you're playing the game for the first time, but play standard. Standard is the best experience. But no, it's not. Historic's the best experience because it lets you actually play anything you could play in standard, you can play in historic. But you can also play all the beautiful cards throughout the history of the game that may or may not interest you, but it just opens up your options. Why would you restrict yourself when you've never played the game in any form before, right? Look at how her wing is photobombing me. You don't get to see my beautiful dinosaur face. Why does she get to go over the top like that? Fuck, now I get big stuff and I can't play it. I guess I'll settle for this. It's not too bad. Yeah, what would you rather have? 5 mana 4/4 or 5 mana 10/10? What the fuck? Hey Nightmare, how's my favorite chess streamer doing? Pretty good. Yeah, who would have thought I would ever live up to that label? But it has been my most streamed category the last couple years. So, in fact, of every year. No, it wasn't in 2021, I guess, because I barely started doing it. But still, I have to take that title with some. No, it'll be tomorrow. I only do it once a week, actually. So, I mean, I do it off stream and record it and stuff like that and try to upload, but it's not something I do on stream as much anymore. Yeah, even Thursday I did it kind of on a fluke surprise moment. But the whole burden of consequence thing where like you make everything permadeath because it's like you want to encourage your good performance, whatever it is you're doing. You can do it in almost anything, where you could do it in real life too. Like, oh, if I can't do such and such thing that I'm trying to accomplish at work or something, or at school, not that I'm encouraging anyone to do this, you motivate yourself by saying, oh, I have to skip a meal unless I complete this project, or I have to give up something, whatever. So create like a stigma effect. Like if you fail to do something or do it at a high level, you have to pay some consequence for it. So the process with any game, it's the same thing. Like, sure, you're trying to win or do well anyway, but it'll give you that extra motivation or just some sort of underlying other challenge that you're looking at that kind of makes it more interesting. So it's kind of like the game within the game effect. I am going to catch him pretty soon, though. Like, what? He's 17, 1800. I'm already like 16, whatever, just barely 16, but seems like anytime I want to make progress, I do. It just is a matter of time, which is a very precious resource. It makes me think of like a new term. People made that stupid video like, oh, chess is pay to win, which is completely not true. At most, you could argue, oh, it's pay to play. Yeah, thanks. I already was it when I was playing on stream. I think he saw it, but yeah, it's not really a big deal at all, actually. I was 1700 in classical, and it seemed like I could have gone farther, but yeah, 14 or 15. I don't even think I'd be 15 because I was already like almost 14. Like I was 1350, and then I went on a really bad streak that led to me having to delete my account because I'm not allowed to fall below 13, and then I did. But yeah, probably it's got to be at least 1400. This guy has never looked so pathetic before. 3-3 without that touch. Look at that clown. I gotta favorite planeswalkers at some point where I've just never used them, or I tried making a deck I think with like only planeswalkers in it, and then even the minions that you summon come from them, so that can be kind of fun.
Is enchanting.
Yeah, there's some sliding scale that you can always show. Like, the longer time I have, the better I do by far. And so, bullet, hyper bullet, I'm going to be the worst possible. And you might think that's true for everybody, but it's really not. Because either I have better time discipline where I actually use it and other people don't, or something. That seems like a complete waste, but I don't know what's really going on. I should definitely try to take out the planeswalker first. That streak is because your brain wasn't working as good that day, or you just didn't play for a while. It can't be that you aren't taking breaks. What, the bad streak when I lost that account? No, it was actually over a long period of time. That's what was so shocking about it. Oh fuck, I didn't mean to do that. It wasn't one day. Like, I lost a couple games, then the next episode, the next week I lost a couple games, then the next episode, so I lost like 7 or 8 games in a row over the course of like a month, and I just went on like a terrible streak when I didn't even have like a failure condition. It was only like September, and I had until January 1st to get to 1500 before I actually had to delete the account. But that's my secondary condition, is that when I hit, if I hit a 50 mark, then if I fall below the 100 mark, then I also have to delete it, which that normally isn't the cause of my defeat, but whatever. I'm just a clown who can't play at a consistent level. It's like, hooray, I got to 1350. What a good checkpoint. And then I fucking tank like a clown. Like, I'll literally be like Ding Lear, and I'll be winning, and then I'll choke and freeze up or something. Which you would think would not be a trait that a permadeath player would have, but I don't have the same psychological fortitude, I guess, as in the past. Where you can, like, overcome. That's the most satisfying thing about any game for me in general, or maybe even in life. It's like you're in a very tough, tense situation, but you kind of stick through it and you just deal with it, right? And you don't let it bother you, or you just overcome it. Whereas lately I haven't been like that, or on this whole channel, where something tilting happens and I just get tilted, and that's it. So the reason why I lose isn't because of what was happening, but because I just get so pissed by it. Like the night or something pisses me off, and then I just can't get over it. Yeah, at least I lost my over-the-board virginity, even if it's virtually.
I invite you to change your ways.
With respect to playing it on the webcam. Now, one of these days I'll have to actually go to an event in person, and I'll have to hire some GM to commentate over it, like GM Hammer, whatever does for Botez. There's so many dumb arguments that trigger me to do with that, where people talk about, well, like how Yifan, somebody's talking about in comments, that, oh, you know, my friend made a joke like, oh, why doesn't, you know, she's becoming a teacher or something to make money because she hasn't made enough money from her chess career or whatever, blah, 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 right? Chess players are underpaid. And then my friend jokes that, oh, just stream it like Alex Botez. And then people are saying, well, she wouldn't be as successful because she's not as entertaining as Botez or something like this, but she's also way better at chess. So that should give you the crutch that you need to, you know, make up for that. But part of that is a pride thing. Like, there's a lot of people who seem like, oh, they're boring, they're sticking in the muds or something, but they're really good at what they do. So it's almost like they could be more interesting if they wanted to be, but they've always looked at it like, who cares about that? I care about, like, you know, my actions should speak for themselves, or I should be good at something to validate it. So somebody who's worked that hard their whole life, it's like the easiest thing ever for them could be, oh, let me just sit back and relax and, you know, have fun and look at memes on Reddit and make jokes and be all cute and whatever. Like, that's not what it's about. The reason why they were so successful in the first place is because they didn't care about stuff like that. They care about the other aspect, like actually being good at something and actually validating what they do and actually, you know, having high standards and expecting that. So it's very insulting to imply that, like, oh, well, the reason why somebody's popular, right, at something is because they're so funny or interesting. Like, that's secondary to, are they actually good at it? So that should come first, but unfortunately we live in a time where that's less true than ever. And again, I would always gladly defer to that standard too. Like, I don't mind if I was unsuccessful and I failed because of that, right? I'd rather die before, or fail before the altar of meritocracy than to succeed despite of it. One of my old sayings. What game would you recommend you? It's got to be free, like what, just in general, if anything? I guess, yeah, what is some? I mean, unless you like card games, play Hearthstone or play, I'm sure you play that, but yeah, what is a new kind of free, fun game? Smite is something I'm gonna play again. Smite is pretty fun. A better version of League of Legends. You could play Skull and Bones for the first 8 hours free if you haven't played that. That was pretty fun. The one that you saw me play on Saturday. Sea of Thieves wannabe, I guess. What else is a good free game? I guess most of what I do play is free, to the extent that so many of them are multiplayer, throwaway kind of games. Paragon the Overprime, because it's about to go offline, so if you don't play it this month or by like April 22nd, you'll never be able to play it. And I never got to play the actual Paragon, which I guess I didn't know for sure that they were going to be related to each other, but I guess they were. They just reused the assets from one dead game to make another, and then that one ends up dying out too. Like, it's cursed. Imagine you recommend me, Chad. Well, we don't need to do that. Or how about variants? Go play Chaturanga. Have I played you in Chaturanga? Actually, now I kind of want to. I could totally beat you in that. Not that I'm perfect, but that's what my whole interest actually was in coming back to it. Like, oh, I'm gonna play variants and fuck around and have fun, but in before I get so salty how bad I am that I can't let it go, that I first have to become good and then I'll enjoy variants. That's like my reward. My reward for becoming good at the game is that I no longer have to play the game. That's how you know it's good and enjoyable. Yeah, my Wednesday thing I've turned almost into a webcam Wednesday, where the last couple weeks I did chess again on Wednesday, and then I did, even though I did it on Tuesday, and then I did the Kindle Scribe thing. So this week I have a bit of a surprise that I won't even say what it is. Yeah, instead of whatever Wednesday, it's more like webcam Wednesday. And then we have the other format, which is I wanted to do the nostalgia gauntlet thing. But like I do permadeath runs of games that I played when I was younger that I either never did, or either that I never beat the game period, or that I never... What is this whole fucking 3-3 thing, bro? Either games that I never beat that I could just do a first playthrough permadeath. Maybe I played a little bit of them, or I didn't play any of them at all and I just missed out. Or it's a game that I beat but I never did a permadeath run of period. My favorite game of all time, that is kind of a tough question. Somewhere between WoW Classic and Donkey Kong 64 and Fallout 3 and Skyrim and Grim Fandango. I was doing kind of a list of it. It's very hard to just pick one. Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door is up there. It's almost like one per genre or one per franchise or something that I could pick, but Hearthstone would probably still be on there, as much as I love other card games too. There's something about it that I definitely do love. Okay, this person's probably gonna beat me, but they're gonna take like all fucking night to actually do it. The Binding of Isaac, Don't Starve. Those are all kind of mainstays on my list. Metroid Prime. I think I probably listed off like my top 10 there. And I know some of those seem like a cliche, like, oh, Skyrim, haha, you casual, but it unironically is. Like, or at least what I could say there is like my most played games ever. Like, what games have I played over 1,000 hours in my life? Obviously chess, sadly, and then Skyrim, WoW Classic, or at least WoW period. Like between the versions of WoW, NBA 2K. Oh yeah, I've done Dark Souls, obviously. I haven't played the whole series, but like Dark Souls 1, I guess I don't think of it as one of my favorite games ever, but it is an amazing game. Yeah, I guess why not? Why wouldn't that be on there? It's just not one of the first ones that comes to mind. Good old times. Yeah, unfortunately, I wish I had some of the video of my Dark Souls 1 playthrough, but I guess I played the shit out of Dark Souls 2 on this channel. And I didn't finish it, so I should probably try to, but it's that one invisible boss that ended my run. The one thing that you can always count to end any of my playthroughs, like PvZ hard mode was almost ended by Invisigoal, the hard mode, the mini game where you can't see the zombies, and then obviously Ava, the invisible boss. So that's what it'll get to. I'll become a GM in chess and I'll be playing for the world championship, but then I'll go blind and then that'll stop me, or I'll have to play blindfold chess. Okay, would you hurry up, dude? I don't like to resign, but I also don't like to do this against what could potentially be a bot. Like, what they had wasn't even that good, but it's just, I don't care. Remember that you killed a boss and the final boss was the same. Yeah, it wasn't the final boss, but they recycled it, yeah. The Smelter Demon took me like 10 streams to beat, and then a couple a couple bosses later, guess what? We get to fight it again. And they just changed the color of it, the blue flame. And then they recycled the flavor text too. I was so pissed at that. You really make me go through that. You would think I would have learned the attack pattern and been good enough at beating him that it wouldn't be that big of a deal, but it definitely was. I felt like I was being personally attacked or haunted. Mytha was pretty good with the poison. See, like, even those are hard mode fights because you're doing it with some other mechanic that you can, like, drain the poison, but you choose not to. That was a very fun playthrough. So no, I've never played Dark Souls 3. I never beat Sekiro. I just played like the very beginning. I haven't played Elden Ring, so there's a lot of things to look forward to there. Even Demon Souls I haven't beaten. I could play Demon Souls and the remake. Like there's too many games I have to play. Like just because I struggled with that boss so much, I felt like the game was kind of picking on me. Like it had to troll me by bringing back that boss of all things. I was like traumatized. Like I really have to go through this shit again after spending like literally 15 streams. I made like a fucking channel art. Do I even still have it? I don't know how to show it, but I literally made a channel art of it because of how much it bothered me, or just because of how long I was in there. So it's like that's how organic channel art comes about. You struggle on something for so long that, okay, where are we at with this? So we would do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I assume that would be all we really want. Because of course I'm not going to do it all right now, but so yeah, these are obviously to imply hexproof for those. That picture is pretty cool to kind of represent it. But still, I would take the Smelter Demon over Ava any day because you can actually see him. There's something just really unfun about that mechanic. Choose what you play for next Flex Saturday format. I always have to check in my own thing to see because I don't know what that is, but I assume that's actually a legitimate one because last time he chose like Regimental Chess, but that was actually not even playable. For whatever reason, it's just like a bait. You go to, I think I had to pay for it too, so I paid like $5 on Steam to play it, and then it's just down forever. So like, why would they even let you do that? I guess I could have gotten a refund probably. Yeah, what else are they even gonna play on Saturday? I guess I've just run out of ideas too. With some games I have to be a little careful though, because I don't want it to spoil stuff about, you know, if I play Fallout 76, I don't want it to fuck over my Fallout 4 experience because I've never beaten that. So it's gonna, whatever. With the slow pace that I do stuff, it won't matter. I'll just go through like the first 10 minutes in an hour. What is going on with this? The Azorius Senate something. That's one thing I'll never do in any of these card games is like read all the goddamn flavor text because there's just way too much. But yeah, I could make that like a really high cost channel reward thing, like where I say, okay, for 50,000 you can play like any game of your choice with me, like how people are asking, like Stars wants to play War Thunder all the time or whatever, you want to play Fortnite. But the problem with that is it's so hard to schedule that it wouldn't even work. Because then like I'll pick a day, okay, like Wednesday I'm gonna play this game, right? And then somebody paid the points to do it. But then, oh, our schedule doesn't match up because I'm a clown and I don't have a good schedule. So then I'll have to do it again. So that's the part that I find kind of difficult. So I shouldn't do it like that. If it just happens to fall and work out together, then that's fine, but yeah, that's happened before too. Not like where I put that for it, but just, you know, we had planned to play something, but then, oh, they were busy that time. And then the next time I was busy, and then it just like, it never ends up happening. Which is mainly the fault of my erratic schedule. Like I always stream every day, but except when I don't, because technically I would fall asleep some days when I was about to do it, and then I did it like in the morning, the same category that I missed to try to make up for it. It should really tell you, well, I guess, yeah, the way that's set up, it should almost say what it is that they chose, but automatically, so he says see, and then, or it should like let you click it, and then it should have a pop-up, or I don't know how these things work. Yeah, I won't actually even use my webcam tomorrow because I'm going to be doing kind of something a little bit different. But normally for my Tuesday testing, I guess I'll use that every single time now. Or whatever, at least if it's suited for the format. If I'm going to do classical, I may as well. Yeah, it'd be very hard for me to do that in a rapid game because I can barely do it in classical because it's just so time consuming and distracting almost to have to move that while you're also moving it on the side and just like just too much. Yeah, there's the kind of high value green blue hexproof that we're looking for. Yeah, there really aren't that many green hexproof that you would think, or they're not really all that great. This had the potential to be great because of its statting, but unfortunately it's just bad because why did I feel like it cost 3 before? Which would make it even crazier, but this is like some kind of beaver detective mole rat, just in the spirit of the expansion, which does look pretty cool, but I have enough cosmetics as it is. But no, we'll have to save up 3,400 gems at some point just to, you know, be able to buy into a reward track later on. Kayla's Reconstruction. I love when these fantasy universes just use regular names that feel like, or like modern sounding names. Kayla doesn't sound like an RPG name. That just sounds like some 21st century Zoomer name that you would just happen to have. Not like Elspeth or something. That sounds like an RPG name. Yada. Stuff that either isn't a real name that anybody would have, or whatever, some stereotypical name for only whatever older people, or that's always ironic. Like, you know, certain names people think, oh, Edith or something is like an older person's name, but it just seems like that because maybe it was just more popular in some previous generation. So everybody who has a name that you know is going to be older, but at some point that person was young too, so that doesn't even make sense. Like, it can't be an age-based name because, you know, everyone who had it was at one point young, at one point old, for everything. But I get it, it's like a generational thing, right? You'll only see old people with a certain name because it's not as hot anymore. But yeah, you could even use it as a way to dictate the episode. Like, I have X number of decks that I rotate between, and then I say, if I lose all of them, the episode is over, like we do in PvZ Heroes. Or, you know, maybe even if you lose as a single one, you have to end off, but that's kind of too harsh. Yeah, those first look things aren't really as enjoyable, like I always say, because I don't have as much time anymore, so it's meant to be very exhaustive. It's always the dynamic between two elements of mine. One that I like to play stuff super slow and immersive and take my time and read all the flavor text and really, you know, not really rush through it. But that's a bad correspondence with the fact that if I'm going to play it like that, right, and really take my time, then also if I don't have enough time, then it feels like, oh, now I should rush to try to make up for that, which I don't want to do, and I wouldn't do that. But that always validated that playing stuff slowly is at least you played it for longer, you know, 4 or 5 hour sessions or something like that. Then you feel right because it's okay, because then you know, you can't complain like, oh, he barely made any progress, but at least he, you know, I made more progress than I would have because you know, I would play for so long that you would kind of make up for it. You would be able to do both. You could do a long intro, you could do RP, you could do random stuff, but then you could derp around in the game itself, but then you could always still do something else. Oh yeah, I forget you can always just do that. Okay, we're just gonna get fleeced here. White flying healing deck, which is one of my favorite things to go against, which we've seen way too much over the course of this playthrough. It could just be that's one of those things that's sort of budget and easy to make. That's why so many people use it, but it is pretty good, no matter how you look at it. Maybe it should be 3 strikes and you're out within the context of, you know, we'll play as a third deck, and we're almost out of them too. Although I kind of gave up a little bit on one of these. Like, you know, I was gonna lose, but I kind of just let it happen early. So I don't resign, but I sometimes resign mentally. Just like I won't even do anything. Hey, you can't even block this shit because they're flying. What? That card can be really good because it forces them to stop hiding away like the pussy that they are, that they actually have to attack in with everything. They waste so much time. Like, you know he's gonna win, but... Or no, maybe he has some trick up... Or maybe I would have some trick up my sleeve, so... That is like my in real life weakness in this game. Like, I'm a certain Pokemon type that's weak against flying. I don't even know what it is. Like grass, I guess. The grass is weak against flying because it's always on the ground and they're vulnerable and whatever. So I guess that's literally my incarnation, to the effect that... Alright, so he lost to that, lost to that. So if I lose to the next one, then that's all we get. Then next episode we would have 1, 2, 3, 4 left. And then when that's over, then the episode probably after that, assuming I'll just speed run through and lose with all of these, the next episode after that, we would probably do another 10k draft before the next expansion comes out, which I don't even know exactly when that is, but it feels like it's been a little bit at least, right? And these expansions seem to come out a little bit sooner than Hearthstone's. Like, this will be more like 3 months, whereas that's more like 4 months, or I don't even know. I stopped paying attention to how they do it a long time ago. Where does it show you, like... Oh yeah, speaking of Fallout, they even have the crossover here. Oh, only 21 days. Yeah, why did that feel so short? Like, I've barely done anything in this expansion, but I guess I took this one kind of easy because I didn't care for any of the cosmetics because I've been getting rank 35 consistently, or I didn't really care about the cards, even what we got in the draft. I mean, I would love to get one of these, but I'm not going to pay money for it, so there's no other way to do it. You can't even get it with gems. That's so lame how they do that. Like, this is a pretty cool cosmetic. Again, why they choose to do it now? They're doing a St. Patrick's theme, but like, what does any of this have to do with anything? Like, that's a good, cool crossover, and maybe there's some actual cards in the game too that they look at like that, but... Or like they add in Fallout theme. Alright, so this is strike 3. That's at least a good rule. Not that I should be losing with that many decks in the course of a single short session like this anyway, but... Yeah, whatever we saw in that draft wasn't really too exciting. We did it like the first week I played into this expansion having come out. Yeah, these queue times are slower than fucking PvZ Heroes. Wow. It's because this game has too many game modes, so it splits the community. You should just only have one game mode ever, and then, you know, you're guaranteed to find it a lot quicker, but that's stupid too. This is taking a while. Come on. Maybe this is a bad time to play. Nobody plays Magic on Monday. And again, speaking of PvZ Heroes, again, the matchmaking is pretty lopsided. You got those two, that's okay. Just don't give me some sort of busted matchup, but I guess given the rank, you would almost think that. Come on. They're behaving like a bot anyway. Okay, can this filthy bronze player redeem their earlier failures to actually do this? And the answer is probably not. But yeah, there's so many things that suffer because I just don't have time anymore. Like, I would still stream every day, in theory at least, but it's not the same. I guess you can't take that for granted. Or you know what I hate? Because I always like to do it as a routine. Like, it wouldn't bother me, right? Like, I'll do it. I might not do it that much. Like, oh, let's say I'll play an average of 2 hours a day, or I stream an average of 2 hours a day, and I do it every single day, right? The point is that it's like, if you play an hour to 2 hours a day, that's an average amount of time that people would watch TV in the course of a day. You know, you come home from work and you watch TV, or you play a game, or you do some other recreational thing. So that's why it doesn't feel too bad, because it's not like, oh, you're going out of your way to do it. It's the sort of thing you would do anyway. You just happen to be streaming it instead of just simply playing it. So that's a good philosophy to have, because you're kind of normalizing it, which flies in the face of some of this entitled culture that you see. Like, you know, oh, if I'm not making a full-time living from it, then I won't even do it. Is sometimes how people look at it. But the problem with that is it's the fact that whenever I'm like half asleep and tired like I am now, your memory goes to like goldfish levels where it's hard to even worse than normal. It's hard to keep track of what you're even saying. It's the fact that fucking the lands, man. Am I actually gonna beat up on an emerald player over here? I highly doubt it. Like, even when we're in a good position, we kind of give them too much time to recover from it. That's the problem. Yeah, like, do it like it's inevitable. Just do it like it's part of a routine. So the cynicality is like, oh, you know, this person will say, oh, I won't do it unless I'm making a living from it or I'm making money from it. But, you know, the other part has to come first, where you just do it because you want to do it and you enjoy it, and then you see what happens. Instead of like, oh, you're going out of your way and it's such a big deal and whatever. Come on, these people are all too slow. They're gonna win just because I actually pass out. I hate doing it. It's not even that late though, but I guess I just always am fucking tired these days. Lord Skitter Sewer King. Come on, come on. Yeah, maybe we think we're gonna lose this one. I'd be impressed if I didn't. But we gave him simply way too much time. You almost have to play this like an aggro deck. Did you know that American food doesn't exist? Not this shit again, dude. Did you know that all food technically is a regional thing that has to do with the geography of the area it comes from? So in other words, associating it with a country or a culture doesn't make sense. Or by that logic, American food is like corn and stuff that Native Americans would have. Otherwise, it's going to be all European inspired, because that's where a lot of the people came from over time. But like, that logic can be traced back so far. Like, everything borrows from somewhere too, if you were to take it in a literal sense. Well, you brought up that discussion I think a few times. But no, like mac and cheese or corn or something like that would be something at least I think of as a as having something to do with that. Like, yeah, I mean, even if you look in, I don't know. Oh my god. Equals the number of rats you control. Interesting card. And it's just basically mathematically impossible for me to win here. Yeah, the whole culture of food would come to the extent of I don't know, just like how the nearness posture would work. Like, oh, you know, why does Japan like seafood? It's because they're surrounded by the water. Why does a certain country like certain things? Because not out of any. Now that's some pretty sick overkill there. You know, why does anybody like anything there? So it's sort of a non-choice reaction element that we talk about. But the other point with it, this is a good debate topic. I don't actually know for sure what would even be considered officially that, but you would have to trace it back to like Native Americans for a lot of inspiration for foods. And but no, I mean it's like when people sometimes say, I don't know what the expression is, like cultural appropriation, like, oh, you know, I don't know. Did you know that America came from European colonization? No shit. Imagine, oh no, why does it keep scrolling back up to that? Imagine you recommend me chows. What a crazy stacked hand this is, which I don't even mind having those. I actually had a decent chance to win that one though, like, it wasn't completely out of reach. But that's probably the funniest thing to come out of European colonization is like, British colonization I mean, is the fact that in India they speak English like it's the first language, or like equal to their first language, and so half their words will be like split between. They'll say like half a sentence in Hindi, then one word in English, then a couple words in Hindi, then a couple words in English. Like they'll mix it together in such a weird way, and yet that's just normal because it's such a influential language for them because of that time. This is a fun kind of card to troll people with. Did you know that I fart mostly when I go to bed? That's a kind of a loaded statement though. You fart mostly when you go to bed. Does that mean that you don't fart much at all during the day, or you save it for then, or like something about that phrasing is very interesting to me. Okay, this would be kind of cute to do, but problem is I won't really be able to do it. Yeah. Okay, come on. I can still come back and win this one, overcome a 1-0 deficit. The media is hyping up. I don't pay attention to March Madness in college basketball. I don't really care about that. As much as I have like a fleeting passive interest in the NBA even, I have even less of an interest in NCAA and March Madness and that. But the media is hyping the shit out of Caitlin Clark. Like, holy fuck. I don't have anything against her or anything, but damn, they're just too much. Okay, whatever. So we get clean swept out of there. Not only did I not win a set of games, but I don't think I even won a single game, period. I like how you're more interested about your last statement. I don't know. There's just nothing interesting going on right now aside from me getting destroyed. And actually, she overkilled me both times. Or all the sports betting stuff that people are saying is ruining everything. Where it's just like, I don't know, it'll corrupt the referees, it'll corrupt the players, it'll make... It's just too much of an emphasis because the gambling's becoming legal. Sports betting, I mean, in some places, Florida and this and that, and creates a whole problem. So that was a highly unproductive, unsuccessful episode. We have one mythic, one rare. The one thing I should always do, like I say, is try to get up to that 10th pack threshold, just so that you're able to get whatever thing you get to earn a golden pack. You would think that would probably be worth it. I am kind of disappointed that you can't get this in any kind of way, though. Those would be pretty sick. Yeah, how many 3D card backs do they really have with this game? Because they... Let's see, what is the conversion rate again? $10 for 1,600, so 800 is $5. 3,400, so it's a $20 value that would be effectively what you need for the stupid ass reward track, which I don't even give a shit about this time. But just in general, I should save it out of my own pocket, you know, for whatever I get over time, but it's gonna be very hard. I probably have barely had that many gems in the whole experience of me playing this game from the very beginning. Yeah, I played it a little bit, but I never really got too into it. And I always say that I want to play it like totally blind one time and try to figure out all the recipes and all the crafting stuff, you know, from scratch without looking it up or anything like that. So that would be very probably time consuming and hard, but I like that idea. It almost feels like that's how it was meant to be played because it never had any advice and stuff in there, I remember. And I kind of just derped around and just did random stuff. And I was always impressed at how popular it was because you would think people have low attention spans, so they wouldn't be able to be as creative as you need to be for that, or to really enjoy it, or to mod it, or whatever. It was just sort of a very unstructured experience. Especially kids, I wouldn't expect to be able to see past that to all of its merits, despite all its potential. You know, they would still have to go through a certain amount to make it worthwhile. You could play Minecraft for hours. I do like survival games of the ones that I played. Like, I don't always play them. In fact, I can only think of 2 that I've ever played, which would be like Don't Starve and Ark. Like, what else have I played over the years? I don't even know. That and RTS games are 2 of my least played genres. I could say I've only played 2 survival games, Don't Starve, Ark, ever, although I probably played other ones I just can't remember. And then of RTS games, I've only played Warcraft 3, or at least I've only beaten Warcraft 3. And it would feel like minutes. I mean, I don't know what sometimes the appeal is, but it's like obviously the building and the freeform stuff, or like there is some structure to it still, like you can kill the Ender Dragon. At least I've been spoiled on that much, I know. Is like a final boss type enemy, or you rely on mods. Like, I don't know what the intrinsic value of it necessarily is. Okay, see you tomorrow.